Hi everyone, Jasper here. This is the continuation to the last video. If Chris didn't allow Sierra and Izzy's team swap, I recommend you watch the first one to understand what happened and how we got here. So, I hope you enjoy. In this episode, we would see Noah talk to Tyler and Owen about his concerns with Alejandro, saying that he is like Heather, but with social skills. He would tell Tyler and Owen to not trust a single thing he says. It is the alien artifact challenge. You have to get to Area 51 and then bring back an artifact. I can see Team Victory and Amazon going together. Team Chris would all go together. I don't think Harold would have top secret information, so he wouldn't know the traps and aliens and stuff. Now the reptile would be chasing after the five, find out about the bombs. Harold would then ask everyone if they have anything to throw so they can activate the bombs. Cody would have his candy, so they use that. Team Chris would have to dodge the lasers. Without Duncan here to throw rocks, I guess Alejandro would be annoyed with Owen calling him Al and stuff, so he would force him to be the human shield. Soon both teams are able to go inside the base. Despite Cody and Gwen not liking Heather, she would try to look for something so the team would win. Lashana and Harold are together walking through anything. Now Amazon would find the portal thing. Courtney is not here to throw the challenge, so Team Amazon would take that as their item. Harold and Lashana are searching, and while Harold is distracted, Alejandro would pull Lashana over to talk. Alejandro would compliment Lashana to charm her into a deal. Alejandro would help find an artifact if she can later help Alejandro tell Tyler to trust him. Lashana would agree. Soon, the two would find that spawner thing Cody found originally. Alejandro asks Lashana to touch the egg, and they spawn evil Lashana. Alejandro would tell Lashana to let it chase her and tell Harold to run to Chris to show the artifact, and he runs away. Owen didn't get sucked into that room, so Tyler wouldn't be punching the wall and dropping that cube thing. I think they would still find that alien creature thing, and they would try to catch it. Alejandro would activate Owen's, yeah, and they catch the alien thing. Now that all three teams are running, Amazon would be ahead, Team Victory would be right behind, and running from evil Lashana. Noah would be carrying the alien because Alejandro and Tyler are carrying Owen. Noah would trigger a landmine and would be sent flying to Chris. Noah drops the box at Chris' feet, and Chris would say it's not intact. Soon, Amazon arrives with the portal, and Victory arrives with evil Lashana chasing after them. I think Chris would award both teams with first class. The two teams would be happy, and Noah would be in cast and stuff. Now that Noah is injured, Alejandro and Lashana have a stronger argument for voting off Noah and convincing Tyler. Later, Alejandro asks Lashana to pay the favor. The two confront Tyler, who is alone, and the two would try to convince Tyler to work with Alejandro because he promises to get us to the end. Tyler's an idiot, so he doesn't think much and is on board with working with the two. The three would form an alliance to get to the end. Alejandro would bring up voting for Noah because he's injured and wouldn't be any help in the next challenges, and Tyler would agree. After the successful meeting, Lashana would ask if Harold can be part of the alliance, but Alejandro would tell her to give him some time to think. Later in the elimination, Noah is out. Actually, this would have been a tie because Noah and Owen vote for Alejandro, but Alejandro can win any tiebreaker situation. I think Chris would just boot Noah out as he's injured and can't move on. Noah would tell Tyler and Owen to be aware of eels. In the beginning, Lashana gathers the alliance to talk about Harold. Lashana would ask the two if Harold can be added to the alliance. Tyler would say no, as they have a rivalry. Alejandro would have thought this through by now, and he would say no. Alejandro knows that Tyler and Harold don't like each other, and if Harold knew about the alliance, he could possibly tell the others about the alliance. Lashana would still ask caring about Harold, but Alejandro would charm her and say that sometimes keeping little secrets is okay. The campers land in Australia and have to ride the emus. Now for Team Amazon, these three get on with ease. Owen would take two emus to ride on, and the alliance would help each other get on. Harold would see Alejandro and Tyler helping Lashana get on, and he would tell them to back off and he'll help Lashana. Alejandro would be nervous seeing Harold, but it eventually leads to nothing. While everyone is riding their emus, Harold would talk with Lashana, asking why Alejandro is helping her, and Lashana would say he helps everyone. Harold would then share suspicions towards Alejandro, saying he steals girls from their men, like he did to Bridget. Harold would worry that Alejandro is doing it to Lashana. Harold would ask Lashana if she's working with him or in any alliance, and Lashana says no. Harold then says good and tells Lashana to stay away from him. Lashana gets worried at the thought Harold suspects there's an alliance, so she plans to tell Alejandro to try to keep the alliance more secret. Now everyone would arrive except Owen. Team Amazon and Victory can move on, but Team Chris can't because Owen is still down. Team Chris and Lashana would go down to help Owen, but Harold stops Lashana, asking where are you going? Now these two teams are going to shear the sheep. With Harold's fast thinking, the teams would take turns shearing the sheep real quick and helping each other getting the sheep. Harold really doesn't want Team Victory or Amazon to lose, and wants Team Chris to lose as payback to Tyler and Alejandro for stealing Lashana for a little bit. Harold would be rushing to shear the sheep. I think he would be able to shear lots of sheep, eventually finding Victory and Amazon a tatted sheep. That means Team Chris is at elimination, and Lashana is hiding her shock in Harold's fast thinking. Alejandro and Tyler vote Owen, of course, for causing them the challenge. So, bye Owen. In this episode, Cody would be talking to Gwen. After all this time, Cody has spent the most time with Gwen. Cody was a bit awkward at the beginning, but now he would have the confidence to ask Gwen this. Cody would start off by saying at the beginning of the season, he wasn't the best around girls and had trouble interacting/befriending them. Cody would thank Gwen for staying by his side when times were tough with Sierra, and for being the one who he can talk to anytime. He would say all of Gwen's good traits. Gwen would start to talk about her relationship with Trent, and how she thinks Trent wouldn't be the guy who would suddenly go crazy. Gwen would say that she thought she wouldn't have another relationship when the season started, and didn't expect Cody to be the one. Cody would then confidently ask Gwen if she's open for a relationship, and Gwen says yeah. Cody's like, really? And Gwen would confidently say that she loves him, and the two reach in for a kiss. Aww. Cody and Gwen would make a cute couple. Cody's just so happy inside, like the happiest he is, as he never thought his dreams would come true. Now everyone is in Sweden, and everyone has to assemble something with the wood. I think Alejandro would still think of making the boat and covering it so nobody else would see. Now I think Harold would have a genius idea of using the wood to make a bobsled/raft. He would try to think what the next challenge would be. I think he would think that it's either a sledding challenge or a boating challenge. So he just makes a combination of both. Now, Cody is not going to build Gwen's face because Gwen is still here and he's not sad at all. Instead, I think he'll ask Harold if he can help them build a bobsled/raft. Tyler would point out the boat would be useless without water. Alejandro agrees and would create a hole by maybe cracking the ice with some leftover wood. Now the ice is broken, the second challenge can happen, where everyone's given cannons and meatballs. Team Chris is arriving first, and they would be able to get the meatballs. They would shoot two of their meatballs, but miss due to the rafts, these two teams' rafts, being smaller. For the last meatball, they would go after Amazon, as they have the most people and they could probably catch up. So they would shoot Amazon and they would be able to make a big hole in the raft, causing the raft to split apart. Yeah, Team Chris is just ahead by a mile, and they'll obviously win. That means these two teams are at elimination. It's a combined vote, so this won't be a double elimination. The Alliance would talk together, and Lashana would want to vote for Heather, but Alejandro and Tyler would actually want her to go after Harold, as he cannot be charmed, and he's smart. Lashana would not agree with Harold at all, and kind of gets mad at the two for suggesting him. Alejandro would just calm Lashana down with some words, and like sometimes you have to vote out your best friend to get further. I don't know. Lashana would still go voting for Heather. Alejandro would be talking to Heather about voting for Harold. Heather would agree, and Alejandro would charm her. Cody and Gwen would vote Heather as they don't want to vote for Harold, who helped them, and they think Lashana is a better person than Heather. In the elimination, there are 2 votes against Harold and 3 votes against Heather getting her out. Heather would be out if this was an elimination. Yeah, this is a reward challenge. Heather would try not to get mad at everyone so they wouldn't be much angrier that she isn't gone. After this elimination, Lashana would build up some guilt for not telling Harold about the Lions and them trying to get him out. I'll briefly go through this aftermath. Jeff would be mad at Blaney for sending Bridget to Siberia. Even though they don't like each other at the moment, Jeff would still care and would get very mad at Blaney. Everyone would get their canister, and I'll just say the same people get the second chance. Jeff would be embarrassing Blaney as much as he can, and finally, in the end of the board game, Blaney would get impatient with Beth and would answer her question instead, winning her a spot in the next episode. I speedran this because this video would have been another million years old. This entire what if is a million years old. Everyone would be sleeping, but then would be dropped into freaking Niagara Falls. Without Sierra motivated to kiss Cody, nobody's able to pedal strong enough, and they all fall down the waterfall. Just kidding. Harold would look for someone who can pedal quick enough. Everyone points at Tyler, and Harold would be forced to work with Tyler. Tyler wouldn't be motivated that much as he's working with Harold, but Harold would tell Tyler to think about everyone, especially himself. Harold would tell Tyler that if he doesn't pedal faster, he won't see Lindsay again, and that truly motivates Tyler to be accelerating. Tyler's able to save everyone, and Harold would gain a tiny bit of respect for him. Blaney is now in the game, and literally nobody is happy to see her. Harold would be asking how she can get back in the game. Chris announces that the teams have merged. Everyone is happy that they made it into the merge. For the next challenge, for the couples, it is Cody and Gwen, Alejandro and Heather, Harold and Lashana, and Tyler and Blaney. Now for the wedding dress part, I think Alejandro would still do a good job at leading Heather. Harold would be helpful with Lashana, and Cody would definitely help Gwen through. Tyler, on the other hand, would be a bit clumsy, misleading Blaney and getting her mad a few times. Now it's a tightrope walking part. I think Alejandro and Heather would go first, then Harold and Lashana, then Blaney and Tyler, and lastly Cody and Gwen. Alejandro would ask Heather for a favor for tonight's elimination. He would share his concerns with Harold, being a strong and smart competitor who can control the game if he wants. But Heather would disagree and would want Lashana out of hatred for her. The two would argue their case, which leads to Alejandro tipping and both of them falling down. Remember Lashana's guilt? Yeah, her guilt really catches up to her, as she doesn't want to hold no secret, but she doesn't want to get Harold out. Lashana is really worried, and Harold would ask why. Lashana's guilt would catch up to her, and she admits her alliance with Alejandro and Tyler, and how the two want to get him out. Lashana is relieved and worried to say this, and Harold would be straight up angry that Lashana didn't tell him before. He would lose trust in the three, and would vent his frustrations with her not telling him anything about the alliance and asking if she cares about him or not. His frustrations would make the rope wobble, causing Harold to lose balance, and the two fall. While Tyler is walking, Blaney would fart, and I can see Tyler getting startled or grossed out by the smell, causing him to wobble a bit, reacting, and knowing Tyler, he's clumsy and would fall down. Lastly, Gwen and Cody are smooth sailing as they are confessing their love to each other, and they plan to make it to the end with each other. They successfully make it to the border and answer Chef's questions right, giving them the win. Before the elimination, Lashana is begging Harold to not tell anyone else, In turn, she'll tell everyone to vote for Alejandro or Tyler. Harold is just full of anger that she didn't tell him earlier, and he could be voted out. Later in the elimination, Harold would spill the news of the alliance and them wanting to boot everyone out. Everyone is shocked, and Alejandro would be panicking. Instead of defending himself and being hella sus, Alejandro would manipulate everyone by telling it was Lashana's idea for the alliance. Blaney, Cody, Gwen wouldn't know any better. They think Lashana started the alliance, and they would vote for her. Heather would still vote for Lashana. Harold would vote for Alejandro, because deep inside, he knows Lashana wouldn't come up with the alliance. He's just mad that she didn't tell him earlier. Lashana would vote for Alejandro. Tyler and Alejandro have no choice but to take Lashana out for spilling the beans. With almost everyone voting for her, Lashana is out. She would tell Harold that she wanted to include him in the alliance and never voted for him. She would warn Harold about Alejandro's manipulation and to be cautious with what he says. Harold is just sad, but mostly angry that Lashana didn't tell him, and Alejandro is the reason why Lashana's out. Okay, so the reason why Alejandro and the alliance just didn't vote out Tyler, well, again, these guys would believe, and Alejandro doesn't want to be more sus and have everyone vote for him. If he just puts the blame on Harold, then he's gonna be hella sus and would get himself out. So that's why he targets Lashana instead of Harold. Over here, Blaney would be reaching out for an alliance. Blaney would still go to Chef for an alliance. Blaney would want more allies, so she would probably reach out to Tyler and Alejandro, as they don't dislike her as much as the others. Blaney would come up to Alejandro and Tyler, who are worried because their alliance was exposed. Blaney would point out that their alliance, it's 2 against 4, but she can even it out if she joins. She promised to keep herself a secret, and I think the 2 would allow her in the alliance. Harold would talk to Gwen and Cody about Alejandro and Tyler, and that they should never trust him. He would also be sad that Lashana worked with them in voting him out. The 2 would feel very bad for Harold, and Gwen supposes Harold to stick with them. Heather would ask if she can stick around with them, but Gwen and Cody just look at her in disapproval. Harold would ask Gwen and Cody if they can include Heather so they can have majority vote in the elimination, but Gwen would say that Heather needs to prove herself trustworthy before she can be accepted. Heather would say that she will make an effort in helping them. Alejandro would come up to Heather to try to charm her into his alliance, but Heather would reject. For the traveling challenge, here are the contestants and what they choose. Alejandro still goes for the skateboard. Cody and Gwen go for the bikes. Harold gets the donkey. Tyler gets the pogo stick. And Heather gets those shoes. Also, Blaney would still get carried by Chef. Everyone makes it. Now it's the food eating challenge. I'll briefly go through it. For the donkey meat, Tyler would be last. Cody would become comforted by Gwen and Harold, and he would just accept Ace's defeat. Alejandro would have to eat the food himself, and Blaney still gets the yummy food. I think Chris would now make 2 people get out to speed up the challenge. For the worms, Alejandro has a weak stomach, and Heather barfs it out originally, so these 2 are out. For the starfish, Cody would freak out. Between Gwen and Harold, Gwen can do gross stuff as shown in I Triple Dog Dare You. Like, she drank fruit punch from the freaking communal toilets. So, I think Gwen would just eat it fast to get over with. Harold is out. Heather would point out Blaney's food, and Chris would tell Gwen and Blaney to switch. Of course, Gwen wins, and she's taking Cody to first class. Later, Alejandro would charm Heather into voting with him against Harold. Heather would deny and say that she is never gonna vote with him. Blaney would talk to Tyler, forcing him to vote for Heather, as she's the reason why she lost the challenge, because Heather pointed out her cheating. Tyler is an idiot, so he would comply. Gwen, Cody, and Harold are talk about voting Alejandro, as he's the biggest manipulator / threat here, so they would want him out. Heather sees the 3 together and would ask who they're voting for. Harold would just say Alejandro, and Heather would so agree. Alejandro checks up on Blanley and Tyler to make sure that they're voting for Harold, and they say yes, fingers crossed. In the elimination, these four vote out Alejandro, so he's out. Alejandro would be sad that Heather didn't vote with him and would ask why, and he would charm her one last time. Blanley and Tyler are shocked. Heather would be gloating that she isn't out, but Chris would also boot her out to save cost on the show. Heather would be so angry at everyone, but Alejandro would tell Heather that they should meet up somewhere, and Heather would be interested, and they walk off. Wow, the biggest manipulators are gone. Chris would still find out Chef has an alliance with Blanley, and would punish Chef. Blanley would be talking to Tyler about befriending Harold. Tyler wouldn't be okay with this plan, as he's still not fond of Harold, but Blanley would insist that they need an extra ally so they can trick him into their alliance, and then they would vote for him, and later hopefully force Cody into voting for him. Tyler would think this plan is too far. At this point, their drama has de-escalated and they're not that big of enemies anymore. Blanley would force Tyler to be nice to Harold all challenges so they can get him on their side. It is the Tanzania episode. The first challenge is getting the berries while getting hit by one of the peeps with a soccer ball. Tyler would like to volunteer as he wants to show off his skills to appeal to Harold. Blanley would facepalm. Now Cody is up and I can see Tyler knocking all the berries off Cody. Gwen is up and she's able to dodge a few balls and comes back with a few berries. Blanley is next, and Tyler goes easier on Blanley, and Blanley would make comments about him being weak and run away with tons of berries. That gets Tyler kinda pissed, but Harold's next, and Tyler is full easy mode on him. Harold doesn't think of anything suspicious though, and he just thinks he's weak. Harold is able to get away with tons of berries. Tyler would probably be able to get Cody's drop berries. In the next challenge, they have to bat the berries at the gourds. Gwen would lend half of her berries to Cody. Chef would have to be in jackets and standing in the challenge for his punishment. Blanley would be worried if she'd get punished, but she doesn't think much of punishment. Now, out of these five, I think the first one to hit would either be Gwen or Harold. I'll say Gwen gets it first, and then Harold and Tyler hit it at the same time, and Tyler's berry hits Harold's, which hits one of the pumpkins. Harold would appreciate Tyler a little bit for that. Blanley is the next one to hit one. Cody and Tyler would just miss a lot. Tyler hits the berries everywhere, and they don't get any pumpkin smashed. For this, Gwen gets 6 tranks for being the first. Harold gets 3. Blanley gets 3. Cody and Tyler get 1. With 1 pair of goggles for hunting Zeke. Tyler would tell Harold that he wants him to win, as he values him over Blanley, who has kind of been bossing him lately. Tyler would comment how cool, chill, and smart Harold is, and that is why he wants him to win. Tyler would formally apologize for what happened in Germany, and would say he should just celebrate quietly. Harold is not that mad at Tyler at this point, so Harold forgives Tyler, and they agree to go get Zeke together. Gwen and Cody find Zeke and try to shoot him, but he just gets away. Blanley would spend a few minutes chasing after Zeke, but keeps missing. These two see Zeke, and Tyler goes up front, hoping Zeke will chase him. Tyler goes up, and Zeke would chase after him, thinking he's prey, and Harold would start shooting. It would take a few tries, but ultimately, Harold shoots Zeke, as well as Tyler, winning the challenge. Cody wouldn't be stuck on the nest, as he never got stuck in the tree. Before elimination, Blanley would make sure that Tyler friended Harold, and Tyler says yes. Blanley then says, vote for him tonight. Tyler feels kind of bad. Harold would tell Gwen and Cody to vote Blanley, and would tell Tyler to vote Blanley, which he doesn't hold back on, as he doesn't want to be bossed by Blanley anymore. So with everyone voting for her, Blanley is out. Blanley would ask Tyler what happened, and Tyler would say that he's kind of tired of bossing him, and feels his friendship with Harold is not forced, like his with Blanley. Blanley would be yelling at Tyler a lot before Chris gets annoyed and charges her out of the plane. Harold would probably take Tyler to first class. In this episode, Harold and Tyler are getting along well, talking about their lovers who are out of the game. Harold would recall himself being mad at Lashana for not telling him, but he's more sad than happy she's gone. Next is the egg finding challenge. The two pairs will just work together. I'm sure they'll all be working at the same pace, finding the eggs at the same times, and entering the caves after another. I don't think they'd spend enough time for the condor to arrive. Everyone's in the cave. I can see everyone taking shelter in holes and small pockets together, and nobody loses an egg. Harold would lead everyone out and exit first, then Tyler, then Cody, and lastly Gwen. Now everyone has to climb the tower and place all the eggs. I honestly do not understand how the peeps in the original struggled to place the eggs. Like, Alejandro was standing and could have placed like 2 or all 3 at a time, but he was singing, and for some reason didn't place it. Like, come on. Harold would be racing to put the eggs, and he would do it with no struggle, even while singing the song. Harold wins invincibility. Also, I think Harold would fail to dodge the condor and would get sent flying to the Moai statues, causing them to knock for a million miles. For the voting, Harold and Tyler would go to Cody to talk about voting Gwen. Cody would not like the idea already, but the two would say that Gwen would be a big threat who can beat Cody in the finale. The two would also claim that Cody has a better chance, as he's not clumsy like Tyler, and he can dodge situations, unlike Harold. Cody would be pissed that the two are suggesting voting for his girlfriend, and he storms off. Cody and Gwen are talking. Cody tells Gwen that Harold and Tyler tried to get me to vote for you. Gwen would just be glad that Cody isn't voting with them. They would vote for Harold as he's the smartest one here and potentially the strongest. Gwen and Cody would go to Tyler to convince him to vote for Harold for the reasons, and Tyler would decline as he says he doesn't want to fight with Harold again as they are good friends now. In the vote, it's a tie. I think both sides just expected a tie, but Chris would announce that this was a reward challenge and everyone is relieved. Both sides know that they try to convince each other to vote for one. Harold would tell Tyler that no matter what, if they try convincing one, it will never work, so Harold proposes a risky plan of whoever wins the challenge gets to choose who's going home. And the rest have to give their vote on the eliminated person instead of a tiebreaker. Tyler kind of worries that this matchup is not fair, but Harold would say that he has the smarts and can beat Gwen and Cody in any intelligence-related challenge. Tyler believes Harold and agrees to this, and they would tell Gwen and Cody, who are skeptical of the offer. Harold would then ask if they want a tiebreaker they can't win, because they claim to be prepared, or a fair chance in today's challenge. Cody and Gwen would talk. Cody is just worried about him and Gwen not winning against whatever tiebreaker there is, and would rather just do better in the challenges. Gwen would respect Cody's wishes, and the two agree with this plan. I partly came up with this because I don't want to create an unrealistic tiebreaker. Now it's the fossil building challenge. I can see Harold helping Tyler with this. Now Harold could know a lot about dinosaurs. Like, he's pretty smart and knows a bunch of stuff, so I think he'd be going for a realistic dinosaur. Harold would probably help Tyler with another realistic dinosaur. Cody still builds his poop dinosaur. And Gwen, I think she tried to be realistic, but it just looks small and ridiculous like Cody's. For the voting, Harold would like Tyler's dinosaur, of course. Tyler likes Harold's. Cody would like Harold's detail, and Gwen would also like Harold's. Harold wins, getting the drill for the next challenge. Tyler is second, so he gets the pickaxe. Cody would still get the sand bucket, and Gwen gets nothing. The next challenge is the oil barrel digging. I could see Harold and Tyler just digging everywhere quickly. Cody would just talk to Gwen while digging somewhere. Cody would tell Gwen that Harold might win as he's digging at a faster rate. Gwen would worry that this is the end for one of us and starts crying. Cody would comfort her, saying that, hey, if one of us makes it to the finale, we'll play for each other and we'll keep fighting till the end. And if he wins, he'll split the money, and hopefully we can hang out after all this is over. Gwen would thank Cody for being with her the entire journey, and also says she'll split the money. The two go for a kiss and dig some more. Later, Harold would of course find the oil barrel and would win. Now, between Gwen and Cody, I think Harold would choose Cody as the weaker one out of the two, and Gwen could be a strong contestant in the finale. The four meet up, and Harold would congratulate the two for making it this far, and would suspensefully announce who he's gonna keep, and Cody is chosen. Harold and Tyler would congratulate Gwen on getting this far and playing a fair game. Cody would hug Gwen and promise to win for her. Later in the elimination, the boys vote off Gwen fair and square. Very sad stuff, but now Cody has a huge motivation to keep fighting and win the competition. The Jumbo Jet wouldn't get destroyed here, as nobody would remember Cody's birthday and set the oil on fire. For the aftermath, Lashana, Heather, Alejandro, and Blaney arrive. Blaney wouldn't be in the cast because she didn't crash into the roof. I can imagine Blaney's just angry the entire time about her elimination. Bridget would also arrive with Bruno the Bear, and Bruno would keep mauling Jeff. Alejandro and Heather would be together, and Alejandro is just rizzing Heather. Jeff and Bridget look back on the remaining contestants. For the surfing challenge, the surfers are Alejandro would volunteer for Tyler, as they're still friends. Lashana would surf for Harold. Sierra would surf for Cody. Out of the three, I think Sierra would win. She would try her hardest to get Cody the advantage. Alejandro would be second though. Because of this, Cody gets a wheelbarrow and Tyler gets the baby stroller. Now the plane here isn't destroyed, but I think Chris would still enforce the racing challenge to Hawaii and leave them. Gwen would be freaking out that they just left in the middle of nowhere with walkie-talkies. Harold would tell everyone to calm down, and they should go walk to see any mode of transportation. The plane is not here, so Cody wouldn't get the wheelchair or the fuel. The four are walking, and I'm sure after a while they find the train tracks and they would ride the train. They hop on and are able to just sit back and relax. Cody asks the two what they would do if they won. Harold would say that he would look forward to an adventure and would share his money with Lashana. Tyler would say he would share the money with Lindsay. Cody would want to spend time with Gwen and share the money with her. Gwen would think that it's sweet the guys plan to set money aside for their loved ones. Harold would soon get real competitive and say to Tyler and Cody that they have played a fair game, but it's over for them now. Tyler would challenge Harold and Cody, and the three are all competitive now. Later, they get to the dock and on a boat. Gwen would drive for Cody and would also devise a plan. When they arrive to Hawaii, Gwen will suddenly stop and Cody will be sent flying in the air, arriving first. Gwen and Cody mess around, hitting Harold and Tyler's boats. Harold is concentrating real hard, but Gwen and Cody are in the league. Tyler would try to hit Harold's boat, but Harold is able to hit Tyler pretty hard, cracking Tyler's boat. Everyone is close to the end. Tyler would be a bit clumsy and would set off a bomb, sending him flying. Cody and Gwen were in the league for a very long time and are able to conduct a plan. Gwen stops very hard and Cody is sent flying, arriving first. Harold would then arrive still on his boat, and Tyler's boat would crash on top of Harold's boat, and the two are sent flying, resulting in the tie. Yes, I think this would happen. Okay, I used this different tier list to organize who the campers would be voting for in the finale. Okay, Ezekiel would think Cody's coolest. Trent would go with Gwen, even though they're not together anymore. Eva would think they are all weaklings, but goes with Cody because he's less unbearable. Heather still tries to show support for Cody. Owen and Cody are friends. Izzy goes with Owen. Justin would like Cody's chill attitude, and Sierra, of course, is voting for Cody. Beth liked Harold in action. Courtney thinks Cody and Tyler are weaklings, so she goes for Harold. DJ would have appreciated Harold's work in victory. And Lashana, of course, would go with Harold. Lindsay and Tyler. Duncan would prefer Tyler over Harold and Cody. Alejandro goes with Tyler as they were allies. Noah would want a strong member like Tyler to win. Katie and Sadie, I don't know, they could just find Tyler cuter than the two. And Blaney would go with Tyler as they were allies. Jeff and Bridget stay neutral. For the challenge choosing, Cody would let Harold choose. I don't want to create a challenge, so let's just say that Harold gets the fire dance between him and Tyler. I think Harold would put up a fair fight without distracting. Harold can fight, as he has shown before. Tyler's a bit clumsy, and he can fight, but doesn't hit too hard. I think Harold would win because, have you seen his wicked Numyo skills? But in all seriousness, I feel like Harold has more fighting experience. I mean, if he's able to work with yo-yos and nunchucks, then he would be a better fighter than Tyler. Yeah, I feel like Tyler can threaten, but he wouldn't fight. So, sorry Tyler fans. I know it's sad to see him go here. I myself am a big fan of Tyler. In fact, I'm a big fan of all three of these guys. But he has to go here. You put up a fair fight, Tyler. Good job. Now it's full-on finale. This is gonna be a rewrite since there are alternate endings for both characters. Next is the stand-in making challenge. For the helpers, Gwen would of course go volunteer for Cody, and Trent would also help as they were good friends in Island. For Harold, Lashana would help, of course, and Cordy would want to crush Cody. Cordy would be gathering parts fast and would force Lashana to work even harder, which can annoy her after some time. Courtney would be gathering parts fast and would force Lashana to work even harder, which can annoy her after some time. The two could possibly get into an argument and slow down the building. Gwen and Trent would awkwardly talk. Gwen asks how he's doing, and Trent would say that he's doing fine. And he's happy that Gwen's relationship with Cody was able to work. Gwen would thank him and ask if he wants to hang out with her and Cody, and when the show ends, and Trent would be down for that. With the two helping each other more, they're able to build Harold and take the league. The last challenge is to throw the stand-in the volcano. Cody would get his wheelbarrow, and Harold gets Tyler's baby stroller. The two make it to the lava pool part. I can see Harold advancing fast, but Cody hops slowly, fearing for his life. Gwen and Trent are cheering on Cody and slicing some ropes. On one of the slices, the ropes would drop a cage on Harold, giving Cody a huge advantage. In Cody's ending, Cody would make it to the top, and Harold would get out of the cage fast, though, and catch up. By the time Cody is holding his stand-in, Harold arrives and sees Cody is gonna win. Harold would accept his defeat and congratulate Cody a bunch for playing it smart all season. Cody would thank Harold for being a good friend all season, and he throws his stand-in, winning the entire show. Let's go, Cody. In Harold's ending, Cody gets tired and slows down a bunch. Harold gets out of the cage and surpasses him. Cody would try to catch up, but he's too tired to continue. Harold would congratulate Cody on making it far and almost winning, and he's like, sorry, looks like I win. Harold throws his stand-in and wins. Now, in both endings, Feral Ezekiel would show up to steal the money, but in Cody's ending, this would not sit with Cody, and Cody would tug along with Chris for the money. The two would successfully pull the money away, and Ezekiel tips over and falls in the volcano with nothing. In Harold's ending, he beats Ezekiel, causing him to let go. Yeah, both characters are winning it instead of being a bystander like Heather. Last thing, everyone is running down because the volcano is about to erupt, but everyone is able to make it to the water, ending the season with the winners having their money. And that is what I think would happen if Chris never allowed the team swap. Okay, I'm very happy that two of my favorite characters won. Yes, Harold and Cody, my favorite character. I'm also happy to see peeps like Tyler, Gwen, and Lashana make it much further in the game. And Courtney, my least favorite, didn't make it far. Remember, this what if is not biased at all. I made this to mostly be realistic. I like how there is no Courtney drama, which I despise. Sierra is not obsessive with Cody. Heather and Alejandro have a romantic end, and Gwen and Cody have a relationship. Also, Duncan doesn't come back. I feel like in this what if, I focused more on situations and drama between characters more than a main antagonist. I tried though, but I just wanna note that I feel like I should have a mix of both, you know? I am so happy with this outcome. Also, here's the voting chart. My next video is going to be on Revenge of the Island, so comment down some ideas and I might consider. I just want to tell y'all, by the time I wrote the 14th episode, I didn't know if I wanted to continue this project or start a shorter video. But I think this video is much better. I want to make shorter videos in general, so I wouldn't have to go through the stupid YouTube editor, and so I can hopefully appeal to more peeps. If you notice my videos getting shorter, this is why. but I'll still try to keep them detailed rather than let's skip this episode because it's a non-elimination. I want to give a big thanks to my 24 subscribers and the support y'all gave on the last video. Y'all mean the world. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down if you like big videos or videos in parts. Anyways, I'll see y'all in my Revenge of the Island video. Bye, y'all.